welcome to Daily Briefing. I'm Alex.
And I'm Sarah. July 3rd, 2026.
Today we're tracking a major legal roadmap challenging birthright citizenship, plus a massive AI ransomware attack that just changed the cybersecurity landscape entirely. And for those of you in Parker, Colorado this morning, it's a clear 61 degrees right now, heading up to a high of 88 and a low of 58.
That sounds like perfect weather to grab a coffee, so let's get into it.
All right, turning to U.S. news, we have a major development regarding the 14th Amendment. A conservative Supreme Court justice has just laid out a legal roadmap for challenging birthright citizenship.
This comes right after the court rejected a related executive order. The justice essentially provided a step-by-step guide on how a future challenge could successfully navigate the court's current conservative majority.
That's highly unusual for a sitting justice to do. Usually they rule strictly on the narrow facts of the case before them, but this reads much more like an open invitation for new litigation.
It really does, and former President Trump is already calling this justice a hero for outlining this path. The implications for future immigration policy here are absolutely massive.
If birthright citizenship were actually overturned, it would completely rewrite American immigration law from the ground up. Anyone born in the U.S. to undocumented parents would no longer automatically receive citizenship,
Which would affect millions of people and fundamentally change the demographic future of the country. Legal experts are already bracing for the lawsuits that will inevitably follow this roadmap.
Coming up, we have some intense developments on the global stage. Moving to global news, a tragic and extreme protest took place outside the UN headquarters in New York. A Tibetan activist set himself on fire to protest Chinese rule in Tibet.
Acts of self-immolation by Tibetans have happened before, but doing it right outside the United Nations is a clear attempt to force the international community to pay attention. The geopolitical conflict over Tibet often gets overshadowed by other global crises.
Human rights groups are saying this highlights the sheer desperation of the Tibetan people. Beijing has maintained strict control over the region for decades, heavily restricting religious and cultural freedoms.
And the timing is critical here, because with global leaders gathering in New York, this horrific event makes it impossible for diplomats to ignore the ongoing human rights issues.
It's a stark reminder of a conflict that has been simmering for over half a century. Meanwhile, in the Middle East, Iran is gearing up for a multi-day funeral following the assassination of its supreme leader. The slain leader's coffin.
This massive public mourning period has brought all regional peace talks to a complete halt. Diplomats were making fragile progress, but now everything is paused while Iran navigates this sudden transition of power.
The power vacuum is exactly what makes this so dangerous. We don't know who will consolidate control, or if the new leadership will honor any of the diplomatic frameworks that were being discussed.
The halted diplomacy leaves a dangerous window open for miscalculation. Neighboring countries and Western allies are watching very closely, worried that this could easily escalate geopolitical tensions across the entire Middle East.
It's a volatile situation that could reshape the region's security architecture overnight. Over in Ukraine, the aerial warfare is intensifying dramatically. Russian airstrikes hit Kyiv heavily, killing at least 25 people and injuring dozens more.
This happened just hours after Ukrainian.
The sheer scale of this bombardment shows that Russia is still capable of penetrating the capital's air defenses. Emergency responders are still pulling people from the rubble of residential buildings as we speak.
It underscores the brutal reality of this ongoing conflict. The targeting of urban centers continues to push the civilian death toll higher, even as international military aid flows into Ukraine.
The resilience of the people in Kyiv is incredible, but these massive strikes take a heavy psychological and physical toll. In a major diplomatic twist, Germany has formally charged a suspect with carrying out the Nord Stream pipeline sabotage, and the indictment alleges the attack was carried out on behalf of Ukraine.
This is a huge breakthrough in an investigation that has puzzled the world for years. But it also creates a massive diplomatic headache for Western allies.
It really does. especially since Germany has been one of Ukraine's biggest financial and military backers. Now German prosecutors are saying a Ukrainian operative destroyed critical European energy infrastructure.
You have to wonder how this will impact public support for Ukraine within Germany. It puts the German government in an incredibly awkward position with its own citizens.
The suspect's name hasn't been fully released, but the formal charges mean Germany believes they have solid evidence tying the operation to Kyiv.
That's going to be a very tense conversation between those two governments. When we come back, we'll check in on some major weather and business updates out of India.
Let's look at India, where severe weather is causing major disruptions. A red alert has been issued for Mumbai tomorrow due to expected heavy rainfall, while Delhi is already getting hammered by active monsoon showers.
These severe weather warnings mean potential chaos for infrastructure in India's two biggest metropolitan hubs. Flooding and transit delays are practically guaranteed over the next 48 hours.
It's that time of year, but the intensity seems to be catching city planners off guard yet again. We'll see how the emergency services hold up. On the business front, Indian IT services giant HCL Tech just secured a massive $1.14 billion contract with an unnamed European company.
That's a massive win for HCL Tech, and the market reacted immediately. Their shares surged 4.6% at the opening bell.
It shows that demand for Indian IT and consulting services remains incredibly strong in the European market. And here's a staggering number regarding retirement savings. An RTI query revealed that over 9,300 crore rupees are sitting unclaimed in 31 lakh dormant EPF accounts.
To put that in perspective, that's enough idle capital to build 3 new IT campuses. It really highlights how broken the system is for citizens trying to track and claim their employment provident funds.
People switch jobs and just lose track of their accounts, and the government clearly needs a better way to reunite workers with their money.
Let's talk markets and finance next.
All right, turning to the markets, we got a major shock from the Labor Department today. U.S. payroll growth slowed sharply in June, with only 57,000 jobs added.
That's a huge miss for the economy. Economists had projected 110,000 new jobs, so coming in at barely half of that is sending ripples through the financial sector.
It really paints a picture of a rapidly cooling labor market. Employers are clearly pulling back on hiring as high interest rates continue to bite into corporate budgets.
The immediate question is how the Federal Reserve will react to this. This data.
Some analysts are even saying this could push the Fed to consider cutting rates sooner rather than later to prevent a recession.
The bond market is already pricing in that possibility, with yields dropping sharply right after the numbers came out.
In the digital asset space, Securitize has tokenized $295 million of its own stock on the Solana and Avalanche blockchains. They timed this perfectly with their NYSE public debut.
This is actually the largest issuer-sponsored tokenized stock to date. They're clearly trying to set a new precedent for how on-chain equities can function alongside traditional public markets.
Sticking with crypto, the U.S. Treasury just dropped the hammer on terrorist financing. They sanctioned 134 cryptocurrency addresses linked to ISISK, which had moved over $1.4 million.
What's really interesting here is the immediate response from the private sector.
That highlights a massive shift in how sanctions are enforced globally. It's no longer just traditional banks freezing accounts. Private crypto companies are now acting as frontline enforcers for the Treasury Department.
It also shows that terrorist organizations are increasingly relying on digital assets to move money across borders. $1.4 million goes a very long way for a group like ISISK.
But the blockchain is a public ledger, which is their fatal flaw. Once the Treasury identifies the wallets, the funds can be tracked and, as we saw today, frozen by cooperative issuers.
It's a huge win for national security, but it definitely complicates the narrative that crypto is entirely decentralized and untouchable.
In another move bridging traditional finance and crypto, Ondo Finance debuted a new SEC-aligned tokenized stock model featuring BlackRock, ETFs, and Micron shares.
They built this structure with Broadridge and Oasis Pro to keep these tokenized securities fully compliant within existing U.S. custodial frameworks. It's all about making institutional investors comfortable with blockchain tech.
Meanwhile, JP Morgan is taking aim at MicroStrategy. The bank released a note criticizing MicroStrategy's new Bitcoin sales policy, warning that it adds two-way risk to the crypto markets.
For years, MicroStrategy has basically been a one-way accumulator of Bitcoin. Now that they're actively selling, JP Morgan argues it introduces unnecessary market uncertainty.
The bank is actually recommending that MicroStrategy issue equity to build its cash reserves, rather than liquidating its crypto holdings.
That's a fascinating reversal from traditional finance. A major Wall Street bank is telling a tech company to hold onto its Bitcoin rather than sell it for cash.
It just shows how deeply intertwined MicroStrategy's corporate treasury has become with a broader crypto market stability. And finally, for markets, U.S. spot Bitcoin ETFs recorded over $221 million in daily inflows. That's their strongest performance since early May.
Institutional capital is clearly buying the dip right now. This surge comes right as Bitcoin's price is starting to recover from its recent lows.
On the tech side, we have some alarming cybersecurity news coming up. Let's dive into tech. Alibaba is reportedly banning the use of Anthropic's Claude Code tool across its entire workplace.
This is a major blow to Anthropic's enterprise ambitions. Alibaba sources are citing severe security concerns, specifically fearing potential backdoor risks associated with the AI-assisted coding tool.
When your developers are using an AI to write or check code, that AI has deep access to your proprietary software architecture. Alibaba clearly doesn't trust having a Western AI model embedded that deeply in their systems.
It makes complete sense from a corporate espionage standpoint. If Claude Code
This also highlights the growing geopolitical divide in artificial intelligence. Chinese tech giants are increasingly walling themselves off from American AI tools.
I expect we'll see more companies enforcing strict internal bans on third-party code.
Speaking of espionage, former European Parliament member Stelios Kaloglou was just hacked with Pegasus spyware.
The irony here is incredibly dark.
It's a brazen attack by whoever is behind it.
Hacking an elected official who is actively investigating you is a massive escalation. It shows that the people deploying this spyware feel completely immune to European oversight.
The European Parliament has been trying to regulate the use of commercial spyware for years, but this incident proves their own members aren't even safe from it.
It's going to force a massive internal security review in Brussels. You can't conduct a secure investigation if the targets are reading your emails in real time.
In better cybersecurity news, Google and the FBI teamed up to disrupt the NetNut residential proxy network.
This was a massive joint operation. They successfully reclaimed over 2 million compromised home devices that were being secretly rented out as traffic relays.
People had no idea their smart TVs and routers were being used by cybercriminals to mask their locations. Google's threat intelligence team really delivered a fatal blow to this botnet.
Taking down 2 million nodes at once is a huge technical achievement.
But the threat landscape is evolving fast. Security firm Sysdig just detected the first fully automated ransomware attack executed entirely by an AI agent.
This is the exact nightmare scenario cybersecurity experts have been warning.
The AI used a large language model to exploit a remote code execution vulnerability in Langflow, or CE. It then stole credentials.
Previously, hackers used AI to write phishing emails or generate malware code, but humans still had to run the campaign. Jade Puffer acted completely autonomously.
It's terrifying because an AI agent can scan for vulnerabilities and execute attacks at a speed and scale that human hackers simply can't match.
Defensive AI is going to have to level up immediately because the era of autonomous cyber warfare is officially here.
Looking at space, NASA just launched an emergency mission to save a falling space telescope from orbital decay.
The telescope's orbit has been degrading much faster than expected. This intervention is absolutely critical to preserve its scientific capabilities and keep it from burning up in the atmosphere prematurely.
Meanwhile, China's Tianwen-2 spacecraft is closing in on a tiny quasimoon called Kamoalawa. It shadows Earth's orbit, and scientists think it might actually be a piece of our moon blasted into space by an ancient impact.
The goal is to collect a sample and bring it back to Earth. If they can confirm its lunar origin, it would give us incredible insight into the ancient cosmic impacts that shaped our solar system.
And in a major health breakthrough, researchers publishing in Nature have identified malaria CD8 plus T-cell antigens that work across different stages and species of the parasite.
Malaria has always been notoriously difficult to vaccinate against because the parasite mutates and changes stages so rapidly. Finding antigens that target multiple stages could finally lead to a highly effective, broad-spectrum vaccine.
When we come back, we'll wrap up with sports and culture. Let's turn to sports. A massive blockbuster trade is shaking up the NBA this morning. Jaylen Brown is reportedly heading to the Philadelphia 76ers.
That's a seismic shift for the Eastern Conference. Losing Brown is a huge blow to his former squad, but it instantly elevates Philadelphia into serious championship contention.
The dynamic between him and the rest of the Sixers roster is going to be fascinating to watch next season. In international football, Julian Nagelsmann has officially quit as the manager of the German national team following their disastrous World Cup campaign.
The pressure on him was immense after they crashed out of the tournament so early. And now, Jurgen Klopp has emerged as the overwhelming favorite to take over the squad.
Getting Klopp will be a dream scenario for German fans. It's a major leadership transition for a team that desperately needs a rebuild. Speaking of the World Cup, the knockout stages delivered some incredible drama yesterday. Cristiano Ronaldo scored to keep his team moving forward.
He just continues to defy age on the biggest stage. But on the flip side, Luka Modric's World Cup journey officially came to an end.
It's a real changing of the guard moment. Modric has been a maestro in the midfield for over a decade, and seeing him exit the tournament was definitely emotional. Finally, in entertainment news, the event of the year is officially underway. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's multi-day wedding celebration has kicked off.
The media frenzy around this is just unprecedented. Fans have been tracking private jets and analyzing every leaked blurry photo from the venue.
It's a massive pop culture moment that's dominating social media worldwide. From sweeping legal roadmaps to autonomous AI threats, today is a reminder of how quickly the rules of the game are changing.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you tomorrow.
Take care, everyone.